I called the police because I was scared. I let him stay because I was alone. But by morning, I realized something deeper. The scariest part wasn't the noise outside my window. It was learning to trust someone again after being broken. And he didn't just knock on my door. He stayed. The first time I heard the sound, I froze mid-breath. It was soft, like fingernails brushing glass. Too deliberate to be wind, too close to be distant. I'd only lived in the house for 21 days. Just enough time to unpack the coffee mugs and start sleeping without music. I moved here to escape noise, of the city, of people, of him. But now silence felt louder than anything. I set down my cup and walked to the window. Lights inside reflected back at me, blurring the view. I turned them off. Another scratch. Closer. This wasn't in my head. My heart started doing that thing where it beats more in your throat than your chest. I reached for my phone. 911, what's your emergency? I kept my voice steady. I think someone's trying to break in. I heard something at the window. Then the back door creaked like someone tested it. The dispatcher asked questions. Address, name, if I was alone. Yes, to all of it. We've dispatched a unit, she said. Stay on the line. Stay safe. I crouched behind the kitchen island, gripping the phone. I kept my eyes on the windows. Every second felt like a countdown to something I couldn't name. Then, 3 knocks. Sharp, spaced. I nearly dropped the phone. Police, a voice said through the door. Anyone inside? I peeked through the peephole. A tall man stood on the porch, his uniform soaked from the rain. He looked straight at the door, calm but alert. I opened it slowly. You called about a possible break-in? He asked. I nodded. Yeah, I didn't see anyone. Just noises. I'll check the perimeter, he said. Lock the door behind me. He moved like someone who'd done this 1,000 times. I turned the lock and stepped back, exhaling for the first time in minutes. 10 minutes passed, maybe 15. When he returned, his posture had shifted, less alert, more thoughtful. Back door's secure, he said. Looks like someone tried the handle but didn't get far. No prints, rain washed anything away. So it was real? I asked. He nodded. Could be someone checking for unlocked homes. Happens more than you'd think. I wrapped my arms around myself. I moved here to feel safe. Thought this neighborhood would be quiet. He offered a faint smile. Sometimes the quiet ones hide the weirdest things. A pause, he studied me. Not in a creepy way, like he was checking if I'd shatter. Then he said something unexpected. I can stay a bit, just to make sure you feel okay. I blinked. Seriously? Yeah, it's late. Storm's picking up. People say they're fine, then panic the moment they're alone again. I hesitated, then nodded. Okay, I'd appreciate that. He stepped inside. Didn't bring the storm with him. Left it at the door somehow. I'm Mark, he said. Eli, I replied. Thanks for coming. He gave a small nod. It's my job, but not all of it. We stood there for a beat longer than normal. Then I said, tea or coffee? Tea, something bitter. No offense to herbal people, but I needed to hurt a little. I chuckled, grabbing the kettle. My hands were steadier now. We sat at the small table, not talking at first, just breathing the same air. His radio crackled faintly once, then went silent. Do you live alone? He asked. Yeah, just moved. After a breakup. I forced a smile. Thought fresh air might fix things. Does it? He asked gently. Sometimes. Mostly it just reminds you what you're missing. He didn't comment right away. Then, I get that. We drank in silence. The rain tapped harder on the windows, but it wasn't scary anymore. Just background. You didn't seem surprised, I said, when I said I was alone. I've seen it a lot, he said. People start over, thinking a new zip code erases old ghosts. You think it doesn't? I think ghosts pack light. That landed harder than I expected. I sipped my tea. I didn't mean to get dramatic. You didn't, just honest. And then it hit me. This stranger, this soaked officer at my table, felt more real than most people in my old life. Not because of what he said, but because he was still sitting here. I wanted to say more, but something in his eyes told me he already understood. The tea cooled. The storm got louder. But I didn't feel alone anymore. And that scared me more than the knock. The storm knocked the power out around midnight. Lights flickered, then died. The house sighed with it. No refrigerator hum, no HVAC drone. Just rain, wind, and breath. Mark didn't move. Neither did I. "Well," I said into the dark, "that's not ominous." He laughed quietly. "I've seen worse." I stood, felt my way to the drawer near the fridge, found candles, matches. Mark turned on his flashlight, the beam soft and wide. We lit 2 candles and set them on the table. The flames didn't chase away the dark. They just made it gentler. I pulled a blanket from the couch and handed him another. "Couch?" He eyed the hardwood floor. "Actually, mind if I sit down here? Feels more solid." I nodded and spread a blanket out beside him. We sat shoulder to shoulder, legs stretched forward. Our arms brushed once, then settled a respectful inch apart. For a while, we said nothing. "I miss this," he said, voice low. "Not the darkness, just quiet that doesn't feel lonely." I swallowed. "Yeah, I miss that too." He turned slightly. "What do you miss the most?" The answer came slower than I expected. "Small things. The sound of someone else brushing their teeth. 2 mugs in the sink instead of 1. Just proof someone was there." He nodded. "I miss touch," he said. "Not sex, just weight. Of someone leaning in, existing next to you without explanation." That hit deeper than it should have. I didn't respond, just let it hang there. His fingers shifted, knuckles brushed mine. Not demanding, just present. We sat like that, hands close, shoulders warming through cotton. It wasn't about attraction, not yet, maybe not at all. It was about not shrinking. "I don't usually talk like this," he murmured. "Me neither. Feels strange. Feels necessary." The storm outside quieted, just enough to hear the last heavy drops. The candlelight flickered. I turned to look at him. "You're different," I said. "Not just the uniform thing." He smiled faintly. "You too. You didn't just survive tonight. You let someone in. That's rare." I almost laughed. "I didn't plan to. I didn't plan to stay." He turned his hand just slightly. Our palms met, not laced, not gripping, just contact. I let mine rest in his. "I don't want to be alone tonight," I said. "You're not," he replied. The way he said it, it wasn't about me. It was about him too. Something in me exhaled for the first time in a year. We moved to the couch eventually. He sat first, waited. I joined, blanket pulled over us both. His arm brushed mine. I didn't shift away. We watched rain streak the windows. Candlelight danced on the walls. "Are you always this calm?" I asked. He shook his head. "I just fake it better on duty." "Well, I needed calm tonight, even the fake kind." He turned toward me. "You got it." His eyes didn't ask anything, just offered space. "I used to think love came once," I said, "that you either caught it or you missed it. Everything else was noise." Mark tilted his head. "Still think that?" "Not tonight." There was a silence between us, thick but not heavy, the kind that says, if I speak now, I might break something, but I broke it anyway. He left me a voicemail, after 5 years together. Just a voicemail. Said he'd fallen for someone else, someone who made him feel seen, like I'd been looking through him all that time. Mark's jaw tightened, but he didn't speak. Just let it land. I wanted to scream, I admitted, not because he left, but because part of me agreed. I hadn't really been there. Not fully. I'd been afraid to look too closely because I knew something was already cracking. "And you thought if you didn't look, it wouldn't break," Mark said. I turned to him. "Exactly." He nodded. "I get that." I glanced down at our hands, still touching, still real. "You?" I asked. He hesitated. "My brother. He died 6 years ago. Night terror turned real. Fire. House collapsed. I got the call while working night shift." I stayed quiet. "After that," he continued, "I stopped calling people back. Told myself I was too busy, too tired. Truth was, I just couldn't sit with anyone's pain anymore. Not even my own. You're sitting with mine now. He looked at me. Because you didn't ask me to. You just let me. That hit harder than anything else he'd said. I don't know what this is, I whispered. It doesn't have to be anything, he said. It's just now. That was enough. The storm faded into stillness. His arm moved around my shoulders, slow, unforced. I rested my head on his chest. Not for romance, for gravity, for warmth. His heartbeat didn't solve anything, but it gave me something to fall asleep to. And for the first time in months, I did. I woke up before he did. My head was still resting on his chest, steady with breath. His arm, loose but sure, held me like it hadn't moved all night. It should have felt strange. It didn't. The house was still, the kind of stillness that only comes after a long storm. Not quiet, just full of the absence of everything else. No sirens, no raised voices, no apologizing to air. I stayed there, eyes open, counting his breaths. It felt like a beginning. Mark stirred beside me, shifting slightly. His hand tensed on my arm for a second. Instinct, maybe. Then relaxed. You awake? I asked softly. Barely, he said, voice rough. But I'm here. He didn't pull away. Neither did I. Minutes passed. I thought maybe we'd just stay like this. Then his radio crackled from across the room. We both flinched. Davis, come in. His body stiffened. I sat up slowly, watching him. He stood, crossed the room, picked up the radio. Davis, here. We need you back for follow-up on the Evergreen call. Possible recheck. His eyes met mine across the room. That was my street. Copy, he said. ETA 25. He clipped the radio to his belt. Silence stretched. I stood, unsure what to say. My chest tightened. So that's it? He didn't answer right away. Just looked at the floor, then at me. It doesn't have to be. I know, I said. But it always is, isn't it? He walked over, slow, careful. Last night wasn't a favor. It wasn't protocol. I stayed because I wanted to. I meant it. Yeah, and now reality calls, I said, trying to sound lighter than I felt. Eli, you don't owe me anything, I said. It was one night. But it wasn't just a night, he said, sharper now. Don't do that. Don't erase it before I'm even gone. I blinked. He took a breath. I've done that. Pushed people away before they had the chance to choose. I know what it looks like. I sat back down, not because I was tired, but because I didn't trust my legs. I'm not asking you to stay forever, I said quietly. Just don't vanish. He nodded. I won't. Another pause. The weight between us wasn't tension. It was fear. Mutual, different, but just as loud. Mark stepped closer. You want honesty? I nodded. When I saw your name in the call log, I didn't think. I just drove. Didn't wait for backup. Didn't run the usual checks. Something about it pulled me in. Like I already knew something was waiting on the other side of your door. I stared at him. That doesn't scare you? It does, he said, but not enough to walk away. I swallowed. Then why do I feel like I'm still about to lose something? He stepped forward again, reached into his pocket, and pulled out a small folded piece of paper, handed it to me. His name, personal number, written, not typed. If I leave now, it's because I have to. But if you want to see me again, call. You don't need another emergency. I held the paper tightly, like it meant something, because it did. He turned to go, then stopped. You asked me what scares me, he said. It's not losing people anymore. It's realizing I never gave them the chance to stay. Then he left. No dramatic exit, no backward glance. Just the door closing behind him, quiet and final. And me, still holding the paper. Still not ready to let go. The house felt different after he left. Not quieter, just heavier. I moved through the rooms like a guest in my own life. Every chair, every cup still carried the shape of him. A memory, barely dry. His number was still folded in my hand. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I'd already memorized the digits when he gave it to me, but I didn't call. Not right away. That day stretched longer than most. I tried to work, but nothing held. I kept checking my phone like I'd missed something. But he'd said he'd wait for me to reach out. He didn't send anything. No text, no emoji, no made it back safe. That should have bothered me. Instead, it felt fair. Honest. He meant it when he said the choice had to come from me. And that terrified me more than silence ever had. Because now there was no excuse. No one else to blame if I pulled away. By late afternoon, I was back in my usual patterns. Meals I didn't finish, music I didn't hear, thoughts I couldn't stop. The high of connection had faded, and in its place, doubt. What if I imagined it? What if he stayed because he felt sorry? What if he's already forgotten me? The worst part wasn't the fear, it was how familiar it felt. I told myself I liked being alone, that I'd chosen this, that last night was a break in the pattern, not the start of something real. But around 7, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it, heart rising before my brain caught up. Then the message appeared. Hey, heard you moved. Just checking in. You okay? Alex. I hadn't heard from him in months. The same Alex who left a 5-year relationship with a voicemail. The same one who ghosted me during the lease cancellation. The same one who said, I don't think I ever really knew you. And now he was checking in? I didn't respond. Instead, I stared at the screen, feeling that old sting creep back in. The one that whispered, this is your pattern. You're easy to leave. Easy to forget. The thing is, Mark hadn't forgotten me. He'd given me space. That wasn't the same. I opened the folded paper. The handwriting was neat, intentionally clear. I still didn't call, but I opened a blank message. Typed one word, deleted it, typed another. Stared, then put the phone down. Not yet. I walked, just outside. No destination. The streets were wet from last night's storm. The air still smelled like unsettled earth. As I passed a neighbor's yard, I saw 2 kids arguing over a cracked soccer ball. One kicked it too hard. It bounced into the road. Neither chased it. They waited. And I realized I was still waiting too. Not for a sign, not for permission, for proof that reaching out wouldn't hurt. But that doesn't exist. Not really. Eventually I turned around, walked home, sat on the edge of the couch where Mark had sat hours earlier. I picked up my phone again, typed, still on shift? Sent it. No second guessing this time. Minutes later, the reply came, just ended. You okay? I stared at the words typed. Can I see you? There was no typing bubble, no dots, just silence. Then, tell me where. I'll come. I swallowed hard, typed one last thing. Here, same place. The moment I hit send, I felt my pulse shift. Not speed up, just stabilize. He was coming, and this time I wasn't scared of what that meant. He knocked once. Not loud, just enough for me to know he was there. I didn't rush to the door. I didn't rehearse anything. I just opened it. He looked the same, but the air between us didn't. It was quieter, not empty, just full of everything we hadn't said yet. Hey, he said. Hey. Neither of us moved. Then I stepped aside. He entered. This time I didn't lock the door behind him. He stood for a moment, scanning the space, like he was checking to see if the night before had been real, or maybe if I was. I wasn't sure if you'd text, he said. I wasn't sure if you'd come. He gave a single nod. Fair. We sat, not on opposite ends, not pressed together, just close enough that I didn't feel alone. I got a message from my ex today, I said. Out of nowhere. Just, hey, are you okay? Mark waited. And I realized I've spent so much time trying to be okay that I stopped being honest about when I'm not. He exhaled slowly. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted. He nodded. Me neither. A pause. But last night didn't feel like a mistake, I said. It wasn't. I wasn't trying to pull you into something. I know. I stopped. Searched for the thing beneath all the noise. I think I wanted someone to see me before I disappeared again. He looked at me then, full on. No soft focus, no polite distance. I saw you, he said. I still do. That landed harder than I expected, because it didn't sound like comfort. It sounded like fact. We sat in that for a while, the kind of silence that's louder than talking. Then he said, you know the hardest part of my job? I waited. It's not the calls, not the scenes. It's going home after, having no one to tell the story to. I swallowed. What if we just start there? No expectations, no labels, just stories we're not ready to carry alone anymore. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. That I can do. Another pause. Lighter this time. Then I reached out, not for his hand, but for the space between us. Stay, I said. Tonight? No, I mean yes, if you want. But I mean longer than that. Stay even when the silence isn't comfortable. Stay when I overthink. Stay when you don't know what to say. His jaw shifted. He didn't answer right away. Then he said, I can't promise I'll always stay. I'm not asking you to. What are you asking? I met his eyes. That when it gets hard, you don't leave without saying why. He nodded slowly. Deal. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a small silver coin. Old, worn at the edges. My brother gave me this the night before he died, he said. Told me to hold on to it when I felt like disappearing. He handed it to me. I hesitated. You sure? I don't need it tonight. I held it between my fingers. It was heavier than it looked. Not because of its weight, because of what it meant. We sat there as the evening fell around us. No dramatic gestures, no declarations, just presence. That night we didn't kiss. We didn't need to. He stayed. And this time so did I. Sometimes love doesn't show up with fireworks. Sometimes it knocks once, waits, and stays. This wasn't a story about falling in love in one night. This was a story about letting someone stay long enough to see the parts of us we usually hide. We spend so much time pretending we're fine that when someone finally sees the cracks, we flinch. But maybe being brave isn't about standing tall. Maybe it's just about leaving the door open and not locking it behind them.